Thanks, Vin. So we'll call to order the Montgomery County Industrial Development Agency meeting at 3:21. If you don't mind, we'll stand and do the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First are the minutes. So our governance committee meeting on January 12th. They're in the packet. Is there anything in there that needs to be discussed?
Couldn't find anything, Chair.
Great. If not, can we have a motion to accept the minutes? Thank you. A second.
I'll second.
Thanks. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Perfect. The organizational meeting minutes were also in our packet. I don't see anything. Does anyone else see anything that needs to be changed in those minutes?
No.
If not, can we have a motion to accept?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Second.
I'll second.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? And then our regular meetings. Meeting
We know what
minutes. Try to do that one too fast.
I make a motion.
Great. Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Carries. Thank you. Communications?
Yeah, just one, Sharon, Joe from Hutch and Russ may want to just talk about it a little bit. I did send forward you guys the communications that we did receive from Hutch and Russ in relation to some of the new legislation with regards to approving applications. Just a couple, if you want to hit a couple of those highlights, Joe, with regards to that, and just a couple added layers
Sure,
that we have to do now.
sure. The one that's probably the most significant, and they're all kind of procedural. The one that's the most significant is the one that requires us, the IDA, to send out a notice as soon as possible when the IDA takes action with respect to a project. So you'll remember that when we do a straight lease project like Dollar General, the first resolution that we adopt is the public hearing resolution where we agree to hold a public hearing. So what we plan on doing is coordinating that with you to make sure that that resolution, a copy of that resolution goes out to all the affected taxing jurisdictions with respect to the project. So it goes to the town, there's a village, if there's a village, involved, the school district and the county. What we spent some time thinking about was, what you might remember is that when we hold the public hearing, we arrange and coordinate with, with Ken's office about the publication of the public hearing notice. And then we send a copy of that notice to each of the affected taxing jurisdictions. So one of the issues that we talked about internally was, well, we've already sent the notice out for the public hearing. Should we simply include the resolution in that same mailing? And where we came out, because it might be a conservative position, but the strong sense in the legislative history of this new legislation is transparency, early notification, perhaps multiple notifications, because it's really not clear when you're supposed to send it. It just says, send it. So what we're going to do is send them separate correspondence, because sometimes we make a decision about holding the public hearing later on. There's a time gap between when you adopt the resolution and when you schedule the public hearing. So that's one item. That another procedural step, and it was very clear you need to send them out registered mail, certified registered mail, and it also made clear that you should send it to the superintendent of the school district and the president of the Board of Education. We already do that as a matter of course, but I just found it interesting that they had that in the legislation. Another piece of legislation, another change in the legislation was it requires the project applicant, who is the beneficiary of a pilot, to, before, if they're going to contest their assessed value with the local municipality, they need to notify the municipality before they commence their Article 7 proceeding. So what we will do in that situation is we're going to add that as a requirement in the pilot agreement. So we'll make sure the applicant knows about that and understands that that's a requirement. What I found interesting is, people who are, town supervisors or assessors, I'm curious as to how that's going to be interpreted. If they fail to notify the affected taxing jurisdiction of their decision to challenge their assessment, does that invalidate any action that they're taking to challenge their assessment? And is that another defense that you have if someone is challenging their assessed value to you? So that's something that you should be thinking about.
What's the purpose of the notification? Does it allow for another chance at reconciling it, or?
It's simply to let people know that these people that have been the beneficiary of a pilot agreement are challenging their assessment. That does get some people angry, and we've done, and actually I haven't seen it in any of our projects, but you hear stories about, a company getting a good pilot arrangement, and then the next year challenge their assessed value, and that's, now they can do that as a matter of right. What I thought they would do, when I first saw the legislation, what I thought they were going to do was prohibit a company from challenging their assessed value if they had a pilot. With the argument being you can't have.
Right.
Right,
You made a deal, abide by it.
Another piece of legislation that they added was, and we got some chuckles on this, is that it requires IDAs to, and we'll work with Sheila on this, to work on your tickler file, that you need to notify the affected taxing jurisdictions 2 years before the project is going to come off the IDA's roll and go back on the tax roll. And
We've
that,
already got that tickler file, no, got it.
and that makes some sense because sometimes the municipality is slow on the uptake in terms of recognizing that this has happened. What we chuckled about internally, and as lawyers, and constantly having to look at legislation and say, well, how do you implement this? Is that it says 2 years, doesn't say at least 2 years, or at least 2 years, but no more than 2 years and 6 months. So if the project goes off and terminates at December 31st, does that mean you have to send the notice exactly December 31st, 2 years before that?
So the notice go to the taxing jurisdiction with their assessor?
Yes.
But it's just, it's just,
You're right, I agree.
it's the stuff that drives you crazy, right?
You gotta think like that.
So,
That's why I got
so
that.
that's another one. Those are the three that come to mind. Obviously we'll be working, and we had talked about updating your policies to reflect that.
Yeah, and just so you guys are aware, the taxing jurisdictions and we do this as part of our policy and procedure manual. As you guys know, is when we do receive an application that we deem complete, after our attorneys look at it, we deem it complete, we actually send the full application to each of the taxing jurisdictions. So we kind of go a step above and beyond, and we've already sent them that. So even right now, when we get an application, even before the board meeting, sometimes the taxing jurisdictions are aware that we have a complete application that we'll be entertaining at our board meeting. So I mean, they're down now, they'll be notified at least 3 times for any of the new projects. So
Are there updates that need to be made to the policies and procedures?
Yeah,
Just a couple.
Tweaks. I mean,
Okay.
Ken said he and his team was gonna look at it first. What we are doing, Ken asked us to look at it's like page 2 of your application is a checklist, and I've got Shannon, working on that.
Okay. Any other questions? Great. Any other communications?
No, Chair.
Public comment? I don't see any. Are there any guests then? There's no one here, there's no one online, so no public comment. The chair's report, I know last time I talked about the county exec holding some meetings around economic development. I just want to, at this meeting, publicly thank Vinny and Morgan. They did a great job of coordinating and helping doing the tourism video that was out. If you guys haven't seen it, it's absolutely fantastic. So just wanted to thank you guys. I know it was tough pulling everyone together on one of the coldest days that we had this winter to do that. And also, you know, Steph, Morgan, Carl, Vinny with the upcoming restaurant week. I know this has been a lot of work for all of you, but this is great stuff that's going on in the county. So I just wanted to take a moment to be able to thank you guys for everything that you're doing. It's been really, really good work. I don't have anything else. Director's report.
Yeah, just a couple of quick things, just to get you up to date. Dollar General is getting close to getting full final approval through the town of Florida Planning Board. We're working on a couple of things there with DOT in relation to a jurisdictional piece that they have that's around the property area where they would be constructing. So talks with DOT in relation to that is going well. And then the only other thing with regards to the shared service facility building chair, we would anticipate our section's pretty close to being done. They're actually up there cleaning. The final cleaning's being done now. The checklist is done. So we would anticipate probably sometime, if we were to guess, sometime in April, May. Hopefully, if everything works out.
Nice. It's nice. You guys
know about your
building
building,
started
but-
later than the other one.
So. And once we do that, we'll what we're deciding to internally is we'll probably have an open house for everybody. In relation to that, but you guys will.
I mean, I've only seen pictures just to rub it in. Pictures, but the place looks fantastic. I mean, they did a great job on this. Perfect. Anything else that you want to rub in?
Nothing there.
All right.
Later.
Later, I know that will end. A financial report, Sheila.
Yeah, so no financial report. We'll start receiving that again, at the next meeting, now that the audit is complete. Just to note that most pilot payments have been received, and paid out, will be paid out today. The annual administrative fees, have been trickling in. I think I've got most of them, maybe one or two are still outstanding. So I just wanted to make note of that. The revolving loan fund report is included in your packet. You'll see that there is two delinquents on there. I'm hopeful that number 5, you know, was just a lack of effort on her part to make the February. And I believe we're going to talk about number 1 in executive session, the financial statement.
Yeah. Do we, the board, as you know, the conversation between Mike and Sheila with regards to investing some of our dollars, do you want us to proceed with that and look into that further and then come back to you guys at the next board meeting to try to gain some better interest on the money that's sitting there? That we're not gonna basically restrict us so much that if something comes along, we don't have the money to do a project. We're gonna, you know, internally discuss what we think we can, what's okay, to keep unrestricted in the other part to invest.
I can come up with some options, I guess, and we can go from there. And see which ones we feel suit our needs.
Mark says you're doing well.
It's arrived.
Now, if it's a lot of work to do the T-notes, then, you know, the long-term money markets are a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going off what Jim Sullivan, you know, had indicated, and, you know, he just, you know, to become a, I guess, a member, of the financial program, it just takes a little bit of effort. There's fees, you know, that you have to pay on top of that.
We
CD.
can't tie up money long term either, so.
Right, and well, you can do, I think Mike said 3 months, 90 days is the least you could do.
Yeah,
Which,
it's worth
you know,
looking into.
Yeah. So.
Great.
Okay, so I'll come back to you there with some better, rates and amounts and terms.
Yeah, it's not urgent, Sheila, so.
Okay.
Let us know.
Anything else, Sheila?
No, as long as there's no questions on the revolving loan fund report.
I think we'll have some
Yep.
later. So
Okay.
anyone on number 5? I mean, I think Sheila's
Well, time will tell.
Yeah.
If it becomes 2, 3, and 4, then we'll see.
perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect, marketing report.
Yeah, so, obviously, we're still continuing our social media. And other programs that we have actually been gaining a lot of following on Instagram as of late. Andy recently finished a focus on business with Power Palette. So that is sent out and up on our YouTube page.
It was awesome as well. Andy.
So if anyone wants to take a look at that, you can go to the YouTube page and view that.
Yeah, will you send us the link in the email?
Will do,
So I don't forget.
Yeah.
Otherwise I
Then-
will.
We also have the Moines report that we did and our website, which is kind of going in tandem right now. We've been working on the website internally. It's taken a little longer, but we have a lot of information that we need to transfer over, but we do have had for a little bit now, the website that's been working on and kind of making tweaks from that, figuring out the content we want to pull over. And once that's up, we'll finish the marketing stuff with Moines, as they're gonna put some tracking devices on our back end and do some other marketing for us once that's complete. So hopefully within the next month or so, that'll be wrapped up. And then obviously, as you mentioned, the tourism is starting to kick off, so we're actually going through a rebrand with ABC Creative on that end. So they're gonna create a new website for us, new logo design, some pamphlets and things like that. So we'll be kicking off a new rebrand with that within the coming months as well.
And then for, so the board is aware too, financially, there was 2 grants that we received to do the blueprint. And so we'll be drawing on them relatively shortly, and that's about $100,000 between the 2 will be coming back in for reimbursement.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
these books, so.
Great.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions.
You couldn't land us the Cabela's, huh?
No. It's never over, I guess, right?
What's Clifton Park got that we don't?
Yeah.
Chick-fil-A, yeah.
Yeah. Chick-fil-A. Any questions for, either Andy or, Vinny on marketing? Again, these videos, you guys have done an amazing job with that stuff, and I mean that, it's been refreshing to be able to do that in-house. This is one of the things we asked about doing, and, it's really come about, and you guys have done a great job, so. There is no unfinished business, I don't think.
Correct.
So new business, the first action item is the 2022 annual independent audit. It was forwarded to us from the audit committee with a positive recommendation. Any discussion?
No,
If
Chair.
not, can we have a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion.
Second,
I'll second.
roll call vote, please, Andy?
Yeah, Cheryl Reese.
Aye.
Matt Beck.
Aye.
Carol Shinneman's absent. Mark Kowalczyk.
Aye.
Amanda Ricchio.
Aye.
Lori Weingart.
Aye.
Brett Senapplace. Aye. Motion passed.
Everyone's been a good share.
I'm
gonna
say yes.
I'm gonna mess it up this time, and just on purpose. The next item, other new business, is the 2022 financial and investment report. Again, this was presented with a positive recommendation. Any discussion? If not, can we have a motion?
I'm making a motion.
Thanks, Brett, second, perfect. A roll call vote, please.
Cheryl Reese.
Aye.
Matt Beck.
Aye.
Carol Shinneman's absent. Mark Kowalczyk.
Aye.
Amanda Ricchio.
Aye.
Lori Weingart.
Aye.
Brett Senapplace. Aye. Motion passed.
So 2022 Paris report. Sheila,
Yeah, so we briefly talked about that, during the CRC, meeting also. So again, there's, Paris report, there's 4 different reports, the annual report, the procurement report, the financial report, and the investment report. We just need a motion to, accept, yeah.
So
We
we can submit it.
Yep.
Got the approval from the board to submit.
Any discussion? There was
There
some
was a
change that
change,
Cheryl,
For some reason, the first page.
Didn't answer, there had no answers to the questions. So I either didn't hit save or I didn't do them.
She
I'll be
will fix
honest.
that.
that just kills, I was gonna thank you. for
Take all
doing
those
such a
compliments
great
back
job.
now.
And Stephanie.
There goes the count.
Yeah,
Nobody is perfect.
Yeah.
Sheila, I thought you were.
She flipped out like twice in one day.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
We're looking to find a new
Bob. Yes, that's right. Can we have a motion to accept the Paris report? Brett, Amanda seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Brent Pettipas. Matt Beck,
Yes.
Carol Shin is absent, Mark Kowalczyk,
Aye.
Amanda Ricchio.
Aye.
Lori Weingart.
Aye.
Cheryl Reeves,
Aye.
motion passed.
Oh, Cheryl. Yeah, I had to do it. 2023 mission statement and performance measure report. So we had discussion in governance committee, the idea of having an orientation, having Joe, work with Joe and his team, and Ken and I will figure out some of the other details that we'll present at the board, the next one. As far as some of the good info that came from the performance measures. Any other discussion on this? If not, can we have a motion to accept?
I'll make that.
Thank you. A second? I'll second. Roll call vote, please.
Cheryl Reeves,
Aye.
Matt Beck,
Aye.
Carol Shin is absent, Mark Kowalczyk,
Aye.
Amanda Ricchio.
Aye.
Lori Weingart,
Aye.
Brent Pettipas. Aye. Motion passed.
Perfect. The next one is the internal management assessment.
Yes, it was in your packet, Chair, and this is the one that actually gets down to the detail as to how a lot of the financial transactions take place internally with staff that you guys are aware of. That is part of our policy and procedure manual. So yearly, we have to look at this. We have to present this to the board, and then this will be filed with Paris along with, I believe, on our website as well. So.
If anybody has any questions or big deal, maybe some other internal control processes should be, reviewed and looked at annually. No, we can certainly add that.
Obviously, if something came up during the audit and there was that type of
Yeah.
issue there, then it would be addressed in this to rectify the situation, but.
Perfect.
We've been getting clean audits.
We don't need an action item on this, do we?
No. Nope, this is.
Any other discussion on this? Great. Real property,
Yes, we have to do this each year. This is in regard to the IDA's real and personal property transaction summary for the calendar year. You can see that there was one, actually a couple of conveyances. From the one was in relation to the shared service facility that we sold the property to the county, and in relation to that, it went down. Part of that was to the purchase price of 170 went and paid off some of the due to Montgomery County, and that was reflected in your financial statements and audit 2022. And then you'll see the other one was in relation to the land sale to 131 Riverside LLC, Dame Logistics for the 4.6 acres to the western, that western part piece of their existing property.
yeah, thanks. I didn't recognize the LLC name.
Yep, so that closed also in 2022. We did, that reminds me, Chair, we did get final approval from the town of Glen with regards to the subdivision of that back lot. So we'll be working with Brandon over at Joe's team in relation to closing on that transaction as well. And if you recall, we're going to do a mortgage transaction with them. It'll be for 5 years. And then the dollars that received that will receive, then that'll be passed through the county to continue paying off that due to Montgomery County. So we won't see any revenue from that. It'll just be passed basically to the county, but you know, it reduces our debt to them.
Everybody's aware of that situation, that was occurred at Glen and paying it back. Great. Any other discussion on this? No action item needed on this one either?
No, that's just a
Perfect.
report to you, and this goes up, this is reported to Paris, and it's also uploaded to our website.
Great. What I'd like to do now is if we could have a motion to enter executive session to talk about financials for a company. Thank you, Amanda, seconded by Mark. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Great.
You're on.
All right, we are out of executive session and no actions were taken. At this point, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Thanks, Brent. Second? I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Great, thank you.
Anyone wants to have
Yes,
these signed?
yes.
Let me know.